For instance, King and these others will say that they are fighting for the Negro to have equal job opportunities. How can people, a group of people such as our people, who own no factories, have equal job opportunities competing against a race that owns the factories? The only way the two can have equal job opportunities is if black people have factories as well as white people have factories. And then we can employ whites or we can employ blacks, just like they can employ whites or they can employ blacks. But as long as the factories are in the hands of the whites, the housing is in the hands of the whites, the school system is in the hands of the whites, you have a situation where the blacks are constantly begging the whites, can they use this or can they use that? That's not any kind of equality of opportunity, nor does it lend toward one's dignity.
We'll desegregate the lunch counters in the theaters, in the parks, in the toilets, meaning this public accommodation things where you can sit on a toilet with a white person or in a toilet with a white person. We'll give you more civil rights bills. We won't give you civil rights, but we'll give you civil rights bills.
We've been misled by our leadership, for instance, that think that we can consume our way into equality and sees equality as an equality of materials. So if I have the same car as a white person, if I have the same house as a white person, you know, a similar job, then I'm equal. But you cannot consume yourself into equality. You must produce yourself into equality, and you move into equality and beyond by productive thinking. Because as long as you're consuming knowledge or you're consuming materials, the guy who is giving it to you or selling it to you is producing at the same time, which means that you never catch up with him because he's always 2 or 3 steps ahead of you. To a good extent, many of our students go into schools, college as well as secondary levels, consuming, and their minds are not being developed to produce the true means by which they will accomplish equality. Everything else is sham, because the Europeans perceive themselves as more important than non-white people, and it justifies their so-called superior position as such. It maintains and it helps to maintain the so-called unimportance of non-white people as such, and Hughes belonging to that category would not be permitted to be elevated there. It helps to maintain, of course, the power relationship as such, and to also build in values in the black student, to value what is not his as being more important, which then focuses his attentions and energies on what is European. In the sense, it helps to maintain what I call that hypnotized state as such. See, I don't see them as being valuable in the sense of teaching more providing more knowledge. I see them as a part of the mechanism for maintaining a system of controls, and which is maintained not so much by knowledge, but by the refocusing of attention, the maintaining, and by the establishment and building in of values. It also reduces the revolutionary potential of black people, because you cannot revolt against a people whose values you share. And therefore, it makes the educated black, were he educated along Afrocentric lines and along philosophies that were very distinct and different from European philosophy, that would set him up then to actually then rebel against Eurocentric psychology and philosophy as such. But since he values that philosophy, the only thing that he can ultimately do is seek reformations to reform the systems, which is pretty much where black leadership has been set. Now, it's not a leadership that's seeking to bring about a new world order, for instance, a world order that's based on, say, different philosophies, but one that seeks merely to share the material culture of whites.